Well, good morning, great morning, God morning. Happy Thankful Thursday. That's what I'll call it today. I am literally doing something that not only makes me uncomfortable, contrary to what people might think, but I am finally doing what not only I've been called to do, but something that I've been procrastinating about. Uh, Literally, if I just keep it 100, I don't really like to do this that much. Like, this is not my favorite thing to do. But because I'm called to do specific things, sometimes you just got to kind of jump out of your comfort zone, run head first into that which you are called to. I am sitting in a very, very thankful place, first and foremost. Let me start by saying that I am in something that it took me quite a long time to craft. I've had to sit in the idea of this. I was looking at my vision board the other day, and I hope most of you that are watching, I hope you got a vision board. I hope you have some things in not only your peripheral, but in your forefront view that you are working towards, that you are working on in an effort to, I say it like this, to meet God empty. That's my ultimate goal. I always consider the fact that we are all predestined to be here. We all have a role and a responsibility. We all have things that we are accountable for. And so this is one of my things. And I am appreciative. I am excited about what it'll yield, not just for me. If you know anything about me, I don't just do things for me. I do things for the people that I'm called to. It is my diligent duty to make sure that I create pathways for others. And so just wanted to jump online really, really quick and ask you a question. What are you daydreaming about? What's in your heart? What's at the forefront of your thought process? What is it that you know you are called to do, but have not quite walked into? What is it that you are meditating on during the course of your day? And I'm talking about, especially for those that still work a 9 to 5 job, which I think is great if you have the capacity for that. I don't. It is very difficult for me to walk into somebody else's establishment and help them build their dreams without being focused and fixed on mine. Not that I won't do it, but it is most certainly one of my favorite things is to operate in my creative power, my creative authority, in an effort to assist others in finding theirs. So I want to ask you today, what is it that you are daydreaming about? What have you written down in the last 30 days? We are approaching a new year. 2024 is upon us. And I'm hopeful that in this season, I will actually be able to help some people to the word manifest. You know, that freaks me out, but I have to say it like that. I'm hoping that I'll be able to assist some people in moving into their next and moving into their now with confidence and competence, with a mindset of not just becoming, but operating at your zenith, operating at your greatest power, your greatest authority, your greatest level of creativity and ingenuity, and just really being able to express yourself in every element of you. What does that look like for you? Have you started to create a process? Have you connected with people that are already doing what it is that you desire to do? Have you taken the time to put into perspective what you want your outcomes to be for next year? I'm already planning for 2025, but in this final quarter of 2023, have you prepared yourself to have a quick start for 2024? Have you created the pathways, the segues, the connections, the relationships that'll really help to propel you into your next? And if so, what does that look like? I want to challenge you today to perhaps do something different. I'm reading 21 Day Brain Detox. Actually going through a workbook by the author. Her name is Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and I actually discovered her when my 13-year-old son was diagnosed with brain and spine cancer. And I was really just going through the process of becoming familiar with the book and the guise under which it is written, the context. But it was not only helpful when Josiah was going through his illness, it was cathartic for me because it helped me to start to capture and hone in on some of the thoughts, the things that I was struggling with internally and externally. And it really talked about mindset. And if you know anything about me, I know that our lives follow our thought process. Whatever we think about most, whatever we meditate on most is what we manifest. Rain, shine, sleet, snow, be it sickness or be it depression, anxiety, fear, whatever it is always a thought before it becomes an action. So the Bible says it like this: think on these things which are perfect, think on these things which are pure and of a good report. And I try to help people elevate their thinking to such a degree that it really changes how you see yourself. It changes how you engage with others. It changes your level of expectation to the degree that you start anticipating more for yourself. It is scientifically proven, scientists are starting to discover that we have the ability to change our molecular structure even with our thought process. We can change matter literally by focusing on that which we desire to obtain, that which we desire to see. I moved from just a thought or a goal into desire. The Bible says, and God will give you the desires of your heart, not the thoughts of your heart, not the suggestions of your heart, but heart's desire. I'm actually literally sitting in a heart's desire. I'm sitting in a place that I daydreamed about, that I would go to other people's facility to actually not only engage or to do the bidding of my business, but the fact that I am sitting in something that I saw, and it's not as if it took a long time for it to come to pass. It was there all the time. It was just a matter of me taking the necessary steps to engage and to move forward in process and to do. And so I just want to tap in with you and ask you a couple of quick questions. All right, so the very first one is, when is the last time you visualized anything? When's the last time you sat and you considered possible? You considered or daydreamed about next, or what could come from XYZ? When's the last time you personally made an active decision to engage with your purpose, with your future, and with your heart's desire? And I'm going to let you sit in that for a minute. We call that Selah moments. When's the last time you literally took the time to think about what you were thinking about? To think about what mattered more to you than anything. You know, there are a few things that mean a lot to me. And one of them is being able to support what I suggest God has and can do. Right? That means that we have to physically be able to show forth a thing. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to see it. It's one thing to suggest it, but it's another thing to sit in it. Right? And so I am sitting in what I knew God was capable of, but it also required me to engage and or participate in the process. And so ask yourself this: what is it that you are thinking of, considering, daydreaming about, that is really just a matter of whether or not you choose to participate in that process, right? So for me, it is not just talking like I know everything, because I don't, and I'm not interested in being that. It is creating a space for creatives, from vocalists to poets to somebody that has an idea or concept about doing an audio book, or somebody that just does not know where to start concerning podcasting. It is about making sure that there is space that's accessible, that has the necessary tools for you to produce those audible things, right? So somebody may want to do voiceovers, and you don't necessarily have the resources or the liquidity at the moment to purchase the equipment. Listen, why would you worry yourself when you have some place that can, number one, help you with that process, but also help you edit and submit things, right? So I've been doing this for a really, really long time. A lot of people don't necessarily know what it is that I do, and probably more so because I don't necessarily talk about it. I just do it, um, and it has been not just supportive for me, but it has been healing for me. And the amazing part is, I probably found my footing in one of the hardest places of my life, when my son was, quote unquote, I say this all the time, when the doctor suggested that he would be deceased before the age of 14. And I would be sitting in the windowsill of Children's Hospital in the city of Oakland, California, and I would be thinking about stuff like this. I started tinkering, and I've been doing graphics and things like that for many, many years, but it's when I mastered it. I channeled my pain through creativity. I was able to use that energy. I needed something else to focus on. I needed something else to think about. And I started dealing a lot with digital media, probably in about 2009, 2010. But this increased media business was birthed again from another very, very painful place. And if you recognize how God operates in your life, you can take those moments of what would be despair and turn them into assets, right? You can take those moments of frustration, those moments of really kind of where you could go one way or the other. And it's another place that I learned how to master moments and master my mentality, that no matter what's going on, I'm still responsible for what I'm sent in the earth to do, right? I'm still legally responsible according to what's written of me in the heavens. I'm still legally liable for everything that God created me for. And so everybody's wired different. Everybody processes their pain differently, their frustrations differently. But for me, I've learned how to, number one, be extremely grateful for seconds of the day. Not the day, not the week, not the month, but for seconds in a day, I'm thankful, right? We get phone calls all the time, look at social media all the time, and we discover that somebody that was here is no longer present, right? And so for me, it is important that I hone on the gifts, the talents, the calls, and some of them, for me, I operate very effectively from the backgrounds. I am not, even though, I'll do this, the speaking stuff, as comfortable as many people may think that I am. To be very honest, I prefer the shadows. I prefer the background. You get more done in the back. However, you also have to know how to discern times and seasons. Well, this is my season of moving out of being uncomfortable, doing what I've mastered, right? So this technology thing, if you know anything about how I move around, I love a gadget, I love a trinket, I love technology, I love programming and design, and And more than anything, I love creative capacity, right? And so, in my question of asking you, what is it, the thing? I've done this for many years, and ironically, before it became my business, it was just something that I enjoyed doing. It's something that I would technically do for free, from building a website to building an app to creating graphics for friends and family just randomly. And this was way back in 2009, 2010, before I had any formal training, before I had taken any classes. It was just me and my creative ability. But as you grow and move into the things that you're designed to move into, when I ask that question, every single time, I can assure you, almost every person that's listening, something will come to the forefront of your mind. There's a thing, be it tinkering on cars or interior design, or perhaps you love clothes and shoes and you dress people. There is something that you and you alone are designed to do. This is one of the things. Everybody has their measure, right? So even if we look at the parable of the sowers in scripture, we see that one had 5 talents, one had 2, and then one had 1. The goal is to maximize whatever the measure is, right? To everyone is given the measure of faith, the measure of grace. What's your measure? And when we talk about your measure, what is the focus of your measure? Right? What do you identify when somebody asks you, what were you designed to do? What were you created to do? A lot of people struggle with answering that. And not because there is nothing. For some people, you may vacuum perfectly. You may sweep well. You may clean a kitchen in such a pristine way that anytime you visit a family member or a friend, they ask, can you organize my cabinets? Will you do me a favor? Can you clean my kitchen? That may sound meager to some people, but for hundreds of thousands of people, it's their business and it's lucrative, right? And so never reduce or deduce anything that it is that you do well, and discount it as not being part of your purpose. The truth is, what we do innately, what we do naturally, what we do without thinking or like overemphasizing, is often the very thing that is created to propel you into next. Right? The Bible also talks about our gifts will make room for us. This is not just something that I enjoy. I'm gifted at doing it. And it's innate, from, the photography aspect to the videography aspect. It is something that I don't have to think to do. Like, I could do this technology thing really kind of in my sleep. And I don't even, in some instances, originally, I didn't even know where it came from. I just knew that it was a thought. I adopted the thought as my own. There is skill, there's practice, there's training and teaching that must go with it. But at the end of the day, it's what I know to do. And I marry it to my external extension of art or creativity, right? And so that is creative directional marketing, right? So I have a very focal point of what marketing is and what it does, from training to working in corporate America to understanding not just design, but understanding what it means to impact or affect my specific target market, right? So when it comes to the marketing and branding piece, it's just something that I've done innately from when I owned and operated several salons. The marketing piece, I just did it and didn't really know that ultimately it would become my business. So again, I posed the question to you this morning. What is it that you're thinking about, right? What is it that is at the forefront of your mind? What is it that you're working on? What can we expect from you in 2024? Have you started to do the work to connect the dots, to connect with the people that you need to help you propel you to the next place? And if not, I want to ask another question. How come? Why haven't you given yourself permission to move into the next level of victory for your life? in this season? Why haven't you gone through the motions of moving into not just a new direction, but in a direction that literally has the power to change the very trajectory of your life? What are you waiting for? Right? If we know that creative power, so if even if we go back to Genesis, the very first chapter, I love the In the Beginning series, or the In the Beginning thought process. And God said, "Let there be," and there was. The first thing that God told us upon arrival, upon exclaiming His presence, was, "And He said, let there be." What are you saying in this season? What are you telling yourself? What is the primary focus of your conversation right now? What is it that you are mentioning when it comes to your future? What is it that you are gauging as you step into next? Right? If we don't know anything else, time is of the essence, right? Tomorrow is not guaranteed or promised. What is it that you are focusing on? For some of us, we don't necessarily have the people around us that help us dream, that help us to focus on moving from one dimension to the next dimension, to a new platform, to a greater degree of education, or a new skill or a new trade, right? School is not for everyone, but for those of you that have people around you that can see the greater good in you. How many people around you see you? And I'm not just talking about aesthetically. I'm not talking about what you look like on the outside. I'm talking about they see your heart. They see your focus. They see your strength. They see your gifts. They see your talent. How many of you have people around you that encourage you to live to a greater level, or hold you accountable to a greater measure? It is important that as the climate of our world changes, especially with a kingdom affect, that we are thinking about next seasons, that we are thinking about next steps and next levels, that we are focused on maximizing productivity in this hour, because the hour is late, right? Because things are changing, and because there is a possibility of scarcity. There is a possibility of things changing in such a way that they spiral without us having a hold or a grip on things. One of the things that I remind the people that I spend the majority of the time with around me is that because time is of the essence, because there is a responsibility of the believer to be wise, right? To have your lamp trimmed, per se, to have enough oil to last for a measure of time. What are you doing to prepare for what could be, would be? Are you preparing to be a millionaire or a billionaire? Do you have a CPA? Do you have a financial advisor? There are certain things that we put in place, and all of it goes with what your creative measure is. A lot of times God won't send what it is that we think we need because we are ill-equipped or unprepared for next levels, right? Sometimes He will not even allow you to access the thing that He called you to move in, because you've not done the mental work, right? So the Bible also suggests, what man who is in the process of building a house does not consider the cost? So today, I know I asked a lot of questions, and I know I gave a lot of context around content, but I just want to ask you one final question. If money was no object and there were zero limitations, what would you do? Yep, and I paused on purpose. It was intentional. It was an intentional silence, because You have to start asking yourself those kinds of questions, because the real truth is that there are no limitations. The only limitation is that which you think you are capable of. A grasshopper mentality, so to speak, as opposed to a we can take them. We got this. Let's go get it. Let's recover all. I want to encourage you today, and tell you that you are well able to do exceeding abundantly, because it is in you, right? Because of the greater works that we are called to as believers. There is an expectation that we not only outlast adversity, but that we overcome it, because it is already written of us. So I just wanted to take a moment, play with my new toys, encourage you in the process, and ask you what's on your mind, what you're thinking about, what you got going, what are you working on, do you need some help, are you too proud to receive help? It's a real thing. um, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to help you find the necessary footing to move you out of the shadows into the places and spaces that God predestined you for. There is a pre-order for your life, kind of like we pre-order books. There was a pre-order before you got here. The question is, do you ever plan to deliver what's inside of you? Some of us are called to some really exquisite things, some things that the earth is groaning, uttering, waiting for to be manifested in the earth. And that is from the sons of God. There's an authority that belongs to you. I tell one to go, and he goes, right? There is access for you, but you have to believe it. Not only do you have to believe it, but you have to have the courage to move forward into the things that God has called you to, without being apologetic, without being fearful or fretful. And sometimes you need help to do that. And so, again, my name is Dion. I build things from scratch. I am a visionary and a trendsetter. It is my responsibility to help those that have vision to manifest it. And so if you're looking for some assistance, be it creative measure, or you got a startup that you're working on, or even you have a business that you are trying to figure out how to scale, I'd love to help you. And I can help you, as my brother David Burris would say, go further faster with intentionality and a strategic plan. Sometimes it's not the thing that you're doing that's failing. It's the fact that you don't have the system, the structure, or the strategy in place to make sure that it happens. I can help you do that. You can always visit me at increase-media.com. You can also visit me at theradicalreset.com. And I'd be honored to help you maximize your moments, to move in great measure, to do it with confidence, competence, and a strategy that is sure to help you succeed. I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I look forward to the next time we get to do this. All right. Have a good one. Bye, guys.